Most betrayals don't come from enemies. They come from people who smiled at you yesterday. If you think fake friends announce themselves, you are already vulnerable. Deception doesn't arrive loud. It arrives agreeable. Machiavelli understood a brutal truth about human nature. People are loyal only when loyalty serves their interest. The moment your growth threatens their position, the moment your success highlights their insecurity, the moment your discipline exposes their laziness, watch closely. The tone shifts. Not openly, subtly. Fake friends do not compete with you directly. They compete with you emotionally. They celebrate you but without enthusiasm. They support you but with hesitation. They advise you but with limitation. Pay attention to energy, not words. A dangerous mistake is believing that proximity equals loyalty. Just because someone has known you for years does not mean they want you to rise. Familiarity often breeds silent resentment. The first sign of a fake friend is discomfort with your evolution. When you begin improving, financially, physically, mentally, notice who becomes distant. Notice who jokes about your discipline. Notice who tries to pull you back to the version of you that required less from them. Machiavelli wrote that men are ungrateful, fickle, false, cowardly, and greedy. Harsh? Yes. Accurate? Often. Most people support your ambition, as long as it doesn't surpass theirs. The moment you step ahead, you become a mirror. And mirrors are uncomfortable. A fake friend doesn't attack your weakness. They subtly resist your strength. They will downplay your wins. Change the subject when you speak of progress. Plant small doubts, disguised as concern. Are you sure that's realistic? Don't you think you're doing too much? Maybe slow down. It sounds caring. It feels protective. It is containment. Understand this clearly. A real friend adapts to your growth. A fake friend tries to adjust your growth to fit their comfort. The danger is not obvious sabotage. It is gradual erosion. Small discouragements. Small jokes. Small negativity. Over time, it weakens conviction. And weakened conviction destroys empires before enemies ever try. If you cannot detect subtle envy, you will eventually suffer obvious betrayal. This is only the beginning. Jealousy rarely looks like hatred. It looks like friendship. That is why it survives undetected. Understand something critical. Most people don't envy what they don't value. They envy what they secretly want, but lack the discipline to build. When your life begins to change, your habits sharpen, your income rises, your mindset matures, you activate comparison in everyone around you. Comparison creates insecurity, and insecurity seeks relief. There are only two ways insecure people relieve pressure. They elevate themselves, or they attempt to reduce you. Weak minds choose the second. But they won't confront you directly. Direct confrontation risks exposure. Instead, they practice subtle sabotage. Machiavelli warned rulers about those closest to them not because proximity guarantees betrayal, but because proximity gives access. Access to your plans. Access to your doubts. Access to your vulnerabilities. A fake friend studies you, not to support you, but to measure you. Watch how they react to your ambition. When you share a goal, do they ask strategic questions? Or immediately point out risks and failure statistics? When you succeed, do they celebrate publicly and privately? Or stay quiet until others acknowledge it? When you struggle, do they offer solutions? Or appear strangely comfortable? Here is a hard truth. Some people feel safer when you are struggling. Your struggle protects their ego. Your growth threatens it. Concealed jealousy reveals itself in patterns, not moments. One negative comment means nothing. Repeated minimization means everything. Fake friends often disguise envy as realism. They call you obsessed. They call you changed. They say you are doing too much. Translation: you are moving beyond the version of yourself they felt superior to. And that unsettles them. Jealousy also tests boundaries. They will borrow your ideas and present them as their own. Compete in subtle ways. Withhold information that could benefit you. Not aggressively. Quietly. The most dangerous fake friend is not loud. It is the observer. The one who claps lightly, smiles softly, but tracks your every move. Why? Because if you rise too high, they lose psychological balance in the relationship. And some people would rather see you fall than adjust to standing beside someone stronger. Never accuse too early. Accusation alerts the dishonest. Strategy exposes them. Machiavelli understood something most people ignore. You do not discover loyalty through comfort. You discover it through controlled pressure. If you want to know who someone truly is, change the environment. Fake friends survive instability. They struggle in uncertainty. Here is the first test. Reduce access. Stop sharing everything. Stop explaining your next move. Stop revealing your weaknesses. Watch what happens. A real friend respects privacy. A fake friend feels threatened by it. They will question you. Why are you distant? Why don't you tell me things anymore? Notice they are not concerned about you. They are concerned about losing access. Access is control. And control is what insecure people crave. Second test. Introduce ambition. Speak boldly about your next level. Not emotionally, strategically. Watch their micro-reactions. A split-second pause. A forced smile. A change in subject. Envy leaks through the body before it speaks through words. People can rehearse sentences. They cannot rehearse instinct. Third test. Create small boundaries. Say no to something minor. Decline an invitation. Refuse a favor. Disagree calmly. A real friend adapts. A fake friend reacts. Because fake friendships are built on convenience, not respect. The moment you remove convenience, you reveal character. Fourth test. Succeed quietly. Build in silence. Let them find out through others. A loyal friend feels pride. A fake friend feels excluded. They may say, "You didn't tell me? You changed." But what they mean is, "You advanced without my involvement." And advancement without their influence feels like loss of control. Understand this carefully. You are not testing to punish. You are testing to protect. Machiavelli advised rulers to anticipate betrayal before it becomes visible. Not to become paranoid, but to prevent damage. Because once betrayal becomes obvious, it is already expensive. Emotionally, financially, strategically. You do not wait for someone to openly harm you. You identify the patterns early, and then you adjust access accordingly. Not dramatically, not emotionally, quietly. Distance is more powerful than confrontation. Growth changes power dynamics, and power dynamics expose truth. When you begin to win, financially, socially, mentally, you unintentionally restructure the hierarchy of your circle. Some will adapt. Others will fracture. This is where fake friends become visible. Not because they confess, but because they cannot emotionally regulate your elevation. The first reaction is subtle distance. They reply slower. They engage less. They act busy. Why? Because your success forces comparison, and comparison creates internal discomfort. Instead of confronting their own stagnation, they reduce exposure to the reminder you. The second reaction is disguised criticism. They will cloak it as humor. Don't get too big now. Stay humble. You're acting differently. Translation: your growth is disturbing the version of you that kept them comfortable. Understand something critical. You are allowed to evolve, but evolution shifts relationships, and weak relationships cannot survive upward movement. The third reaction is competitive behavior. Suddenly they pursue similar goals, not out of inspiration, but out of insecurity. They compare numbers. They compete in conversations. They try to reclaim dominance. Healthy competition feels collaborative. Insecure competition feels tense. You will sense it. Energy becomes transactional. Support becomes conditional. Now here is the most dangerous phase. When they smile in front of you, but speak differently behind you. This is not dramatic betrayal. This is reputation erosion. Small comments, small doubts planted in other people's minds. Nothing explosive, just enough to slow momentum. Machiavelli warned leaders to monitor those who appear overly agreeable, because excessive agreement often masks strategic patience. A fake friend rarely attacks you directly. They wait for you to make a mistake, and when you do, they amplify it. Why? Because your fall restores psychological balance. Your failure relieves their pressure. This is why rising quietly is powerful. When you build in silence, you reduce resistance. But once you are visible, exposure intensifies reactions. Here is the rule. When you rise, observe who adjusts and who resists. Those who adjust can remain close. Those who resist must be repositioned. Not with anger, not with confrontation, with distance, because power is not loud removal. It is a controlled reduction of access. By now, you know the signs. You've observed distance, subtle criticism, envy, and transactional energy. You've tested loyalty without declaring suspicion. You've seen who adapts and who resists your rise. Now comes the hardest part: decisive action. Step 1. Remove access quietly. Fake friends are dangerous only because they have influence over your time, your energy, or your reputation. You do not need drama. You do not need confrontation. You reduce access with precision. Stop sharing plans. Stop inviting them into spaces where they can observe weakness. Stop seeking their approval. Notice how naturally some will fall away. They were never your allies, only passengers. Step 2. Reposition strategically. Some individuals are not threats, but potential liabilities if left unchecked. They can remain in your orbital at a distance. On probation, neutralized. You do not cut everyone. You cut selectively. Proximity without influence is safety. Step 3. Strengthen the circle. Build a circle that elevates you. Seek people who tolerate your ambition. Seek those who match your discipline, your vision, your ruthlessness. Machiavelli taught that rulers must surround themselves with capable men, not sycophants, not observers, not weak minds. Your circle must reinforce, not dilute, your power. Step 4. Observe continuously. Loyalty is not permanent. Circumstances change, ambitions shift, and envy arises quietly. A wise leader never fully trusts comfort. They maintain vigilance without paranoia. Step 5. Let your results speak. Fake friends react to your growth because it threatens their balance. Ignore them. Focus on building. Your success exposes truth faster than confrontation ever could. Remember, power is not emotional. It is precise, measured, controlled. When you act strategically, you protect your vision, your energy, and your legacy. The cruelest truth? Not everyone who smiles at you is an ally, but not everyone who leaves is an enemy. Your task is to differentiate, quietly, ruthlessly, and structure your relationships for strength, not sentiment. This is not paranoia. This is survival. This is power. My conclusion: fake friends destroy slowly, subtly, and invisibly. If you fail to detect them, they will erode your focus, your energy, and your ambition. By observing, testing, and controlling access, you safeguard your rise. And by building a disciplined, capable circle, you ensure that your growth is unstoppable, and that your legacy is protected from weakness, disguised as loyalty.